You're listening to the Oddities podcast.
All right, guys, here with Michelle and Dustin, the treasure hunt, the first treasure hunt winners. How did you guys, I know I've asked you this before, but I don't remember. How did you guys initially even find out about the treasure hunt thing we're doing?
We were actually on our way to the Department of Licensing.
Oh, really? And you saw the sign on the window?
Yeah.
Dude, that's good feedback that actually worked.
Yeah.
We were like, because you never know, like, the posts you do or the ads you do, if anyone ever sees them.
Yeah.
And so then you guys just followed us on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
And that was exactly as soon as we saw the word treasure hunt, we were like, oh, we've been meaning to try something out like that. And
Now, you and I were talking about the Fen treasure. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
It's insane. So anyone who doesn't know, the Fen treasure, it's been going on for a decade. This guy who's like an antiques, art dealer guy.
Yep. Collector and dealer.
Yeah. He hit a treasure 10 years ago. It was in the Rocky Mountains, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and he wrote a poem, right?
Mm-hmm.
To try to tell people where this treasure was. And it was like over $1 million worth of like coins and antiques and whatever.
Gems.
And then people over the last 10 years, hundreds of thousands, right? Of people have been trying to find this thing. Some have even died trying to find it. So Michelle and I, how did we even get on the topic of the Fen treasure? We were talking about something. I think I was asking if you wanted to be on the podcast. We somehow got into the conversation, and I was like, are you guys ready for the next treasure hunt?
That's exactly right, yep.
And you mentioned the Fen treasure, and I was like, yeah, that was it. Because literally a week before you mentioned it, I was trying to explain that to somebody, and I couldn't remember the name of it. And I was like, yeah, this treasure. And then literally the next day it was found after 10 years.
I couldn't believe that.
I know. I feel like we deserve a cut of it. Because it's like God, can you imagine? And the guy who found it was anonymous. He just sent like a picture. When I first saw that on Instagram, I was like, that's bullshit. Someone's trolling. That's not real. And then I Googled it and popped up on CNN.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
like,
I thought when you sent me the message. I was like, there's no way.
I
He's
so
kidding.
badly would love to go. Like, if I didn't have work and things.
Obligation.
Like, who are these people that can just go hunt for a treasure for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess, but, well, I was telling Amicia that there's this other place. It's not like a treasure hunt, but there's like this field or this area where you can go during the day or whatever. It's like a field of diamonds where you can dig for diamonds. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
In Arkansas, is that what we said?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and occasionally someone finds like a huge diamond and you hear about it in the news. Like, how cool would that be, man?
Yeah.
Just go out on a hunt like that.
Yeah.
Well, and the neat thing is we actually have a couple pay-to-dig sites that are closer in the Pacific Northwest.
We do?
Yeah, and they're
We
not
don't put
diamonds because
Yeah.
those don't occur on this side of the...
What is it? It's like gold?
There are some gold panning places, but a lot of them are like sunstones. You can do opals,
Nice.
geodes, all kinds of weird things.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Where's the closest one? Do you know?
I don't know about the closest, but the one that I'm most excited for is I think it's called the Rock and Tomahawk Ranch in Ellensburg.
Okay.
And they allow you to come onto their ranch and they kind of plow everything over, turn all the dirt over, and you can find Ellensburg Blue, which is right now they're trying to push that as the state gemstone, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And that's like the only place you can find it.
Oh, that's cool. Where do you guys hear about this stuff? Because I.
We're really into rocks.
Okay.
Rocks all the time. So.
Which one of you is a more avid hiker? Like before you guys met, like when you guys got met, was one of you more of an avid hiker and got the other one into it, or are you guys both pretty avid hikers?
I would say yearly, probably him because he did trail work
I used
in
to do
Colorado.
trail work, and my mom worked for the Forest Service too.
Oh,
so
really?
We were just outdoors all the time.
Where was that at?
In Colorado.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
What part of Colorado?
It's a little town called Walden up in the north central Rocky Mountains.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. And how'd you? I know I probably asked you this before when we first talked. How'd you come out? How'd you guys end up coming out to Bellingham?
We went to Western. So
okay.
I had moved to Montana before for high school, and then just came out here for school, and Michelle did too. So we met in freshman year in the dorms.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then we went out to Wisconsin for 4 years after school, and then came back just a year or so ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What was Wisconsin like?
It was flat.
Why
and
did you guys
hot.
go out there?
Work.
Oh, work.
The company that I work for is based out of there, and I worked there for a little while, and then took a remote position and moved back here.
Nice.
We miss the Pacific Northwest quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because I lived in Las Vegas 2 separate times in my life, and other areas like I lived in Illinois at one point, Peoria, and it's like when you live in the desert for months. And then you finally come back to the Pacific Northwest and you see like the green and the mountains and the water. Like, whoa, it's like sensory
overwhelming.
color overload.
It is.
And you realize, oh, damn, like there's people in the country who have never seen this. Like, who just stayed in their town or their city. Or like kids, for example, who just have never seen the ocean. Like
Yeah.
you take it for granted, but that's true of anybody wherever you live. You take everything for granted because it's
That's
your
true.
normal, right? So was this the first treasure hunt that you guys had ever done when you did ours, or have you guys gone on like other little ones? Or
We hadn't. I don't think I'd ever seen an opportunity like that before. Or, like,
Other than the
just haven't
Forest
really
Fen
come
one,
across
and
it. Yeah, and
that was
was
kind
just,
of just a pipe dream, you
Yeah.
know, reading
So-
through the poem a million times.
yeah, it's weird designing it because I kind of want to design. I've thought about doing it with this one to design the hunt where I just write a poem or some sort of story that if you can solve it, you can go straight to it. But then every 48 hours, release a new clue. I might do that this time. It's really hard though because when you write some sort of story or poem, if it's too easy, it's found right away,
Yeah.
Right.
and then it's like kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
Because all that work went into finding a spot, designing it.
You have to
and,
have the build up.
Yeah.
you know, but then if it's so hard, then it's like, well, what was the point of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
exactly.
But if you could design a whole story and then release a handful of clues, and then they start to piece it together and
Yeah.
find it, but yeah, it's really it's a lot of work because you have to find a trail first of all. So you just I just go on like Google and like look up Bellingham
Yeah.
trails,
Yeah,
and then but then you
WT.
have to go hike it to see if there's a good spot
Yeah,
to find.
exactly.
The first place I looked where I didn't end up deciding to hide it at, it was like there was so much brush off the trail because it's so dense
Yeah.
that there's no way to really go off the trail. 'Cause you can just obviously hide it on the
Yeah.
trail. You have to go off the trail, and it was just so thick
Yeah.
with brush on both sides. After I hiked like 3 hours, uphill and everything, you're like, oh, it's so exhausting.
Yeah.
But then you don't find a spot, then you got to go and do it all over again.
Yeah.
And I can't just go out every day because I run like 2 businesses and that
Yeah.
whole stuff. So it gets spaced apart. So anyone listening to this, the next treasure hunt is probably going to happen at the end of the month. I've already found the spot. I've already designed like 4 clues I have. And so it's getting put together, but
Awesome.
because you kind of want to change it up. So, because for example, like when I reached the first clue, it's pretty much impossible to find it on the first clue. It's just going to kind of tell
Yeah.
you the general area.
Yeah.
Right.
But did you guys go out right away on the first clue?
We went out, but we went to the wrong spot.
Where'd you guys go?
So we got the Stone and Webster reference, and like one of their other projects around here, other than Interurban, was the Nooksack Dam.
Okay.
The
So
hydroelectric.
we ended up going out to Nooksack Falls and just kind of poking around out there, and we had no idea what we were looking for. So.
Well, it's kind of fun
Yeah.
because it gets you out, and maybe you
Yeah.
can discover new areas or new trails you haven't been on.
Yeah, that was really awesome of this because we hadn't actually been to Arroyo before all of this too. So.
Right.
How much time did you guys spend on that first clue when you went out there, like looking around? Were you guys out there for hours, or were you going off the trail? Like, just people are like hiking on the trail and they see these weirdos off in the woods. Like, what are they doing?
Well, the spot that we went wasn't really much of a trail anyway, so we just kind of like looked around the woods because out at Nooksack Falls, it's basically just an overlook of the falls, and there's like forest roads.
Oh, sounds pretty.
Yeah.
And then when we got to Arroyo, we were kind of, looking around, but not trying to cast too much suspicion because we didn't really know what we were
Yeah.
doing, but we were trying to see
Yeah.
maybe if there was someone else out there that knew or.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
weird because when I was designing it at the time, I don't remember how many followers we had on Instagram, but those are the only people who were going to see it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I don't know how many people are going to participate.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make it, pretty worthwhile. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
packed a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
But then I was like, all right, there's only this many people, a few hundred at the time, I think. I was like, I don't want the clues to be retardedly, like insanely difficult. Like it
Yeah.
has to be somewhat, but yeah. And I think as we get more followers, maybe it'll go up in difficulty.
Yeah.
But yeah, you always try to figure out, and like designing the clues themselves are just really hard
Yeah.
because it's like, well, what do you do? Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to try to come up with different things. As I go on the trail, as I'm going, it's not a super enjoyable hike. It's still fun, enjoyable, but
Yeah.
as I'm going, I have to take pictures of everything.
Right.
Landmarks, forks in the road,
Anything that can give you
anything that I can
inspiration.
design clues around.
Yeah.
But also I have to keep track of my,
Yeah.
because like when I get home, I have to remember like, okay, at this fork, did I go right or left?
Yeah,
Like, I don't
exactly.
remember.
Yeah.
And like I've had that trouble before where I'm like, oh, shit. I'll have the picture on my phone because all the pictures are in order.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, like did I go right or left? Because the next picture is like a tree or something, and
Yeah.
then you have to go and hike it all again.
Yeah.
Right.
Like every time I find a spot, I have to hike that spot like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we did with the clues too.
Uh-huh.
Every time you'd put one out, we'd rehike another section and just be
Uh-huh.
like, okay, how does this tie in?
Uh-huh.
And slowly we would end up getting
Uh-huh.
pushed further up the
Yeah.
trail.
Did you guys feel confident, or were you like frustrated, or were you like, we're never gonna find it? Like,
We-
Both.
Yeah. Like we thought, like we were confident that we were like getting the clues right, but they didn't obviously lead out right to it until the end. So we were kind of, you know, we I don't know. It was an interesting feeling because we knew that we were on the right track, but you definitely weren't sure that we were going to find it. And there was times that we thought that it didn't even exist, maybe.
Yeah, well, it was right. It's just a big, just kidding.
Or maybe that someone had found it and hadn't claimed it right away. You know.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Someone could find it and just not say anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd have to bust it open because I said, you know, bring it in to get the game.
Yeah.
But that would have been easy to bust open.
Oh,
but,
yeah. But
yeah, but then I always think like, this is honestly what I think about when I go off the trail to find a spot. I'd be like, would someone go over here to pee?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't want to put it in a spot because people are going to go off to go pee, right?
Yeah.
Right,
And I was like, so I try to like go off in a way where I don't think anyone would come this way or go over here. You know
That
what
would
I mean?
be something wild to find while peeing. Completely out of context. No relation. You don't know about the treasure hunt. You're just out there finding a pee.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you found that $1 million treasure that we talked about earlier?
I honestly want to know where they put it.
Because they didn't. He wouldn't say where it was buried.
Damn.
Right.
But suppose that, and I did read the article, but I don't remember. It was.
I think it's like a lush canopy with
just kind of
stars or
hidden.
something like that.
I read the poem years ago. I haven't read it. Did you go back and read the poem?
I did. And I still don't understand. There's like the main part that trips me up is like the home of Brown. There were so many different interpretations.
What does the home of Brown mean?
I never could figure it out.
Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one part where it was like so many different YouTubers had different theories on what the home of Brown meant. Like if it was a person or if it was like a structural, like a giant cliffside that had, you know, a giant brown streak in it. And I could never.
And then there was like, I think it started with like where warm waters halt or something, and they were wondering what that meant, like maybe about the warm, like hot spring type of waters
From Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe you look at like underground, like what do you call them? Aquifers or aqueducts? I forget.
Aquifers, I think.
Yeah. God, I know it's so trippy. You can go and I should have spent some time trying to figure it out. I literally spent zero time. I just read the poem and I read up on the history of it. This was like years ago, but I was like, I'm so busy. Like, I don't have time to jump on a plane or drive.
Yeah, exactly.
At
like,
that time we were in Wisconsin.
Yeah. So that's the thing too when you design. Like, that's the cool thing about designing a poem. Like, you just release that poem and then whatever. But when you design clues, like one thing I was thinking when I was designing it, I'm like, well, what if I get to the end of the clues and no one's found it? Then I have no more clues. Because you don't know how many clues you design enough clues that you think can lead people to it.
Right.
But then if you run out of clues, you're like, oh, that's why the very last clue I had on the first one was literally the GPS coordinates of where it's located.
Okay.
I was like, if you can't get it, but
at that point it's just a race.
At that point, it's like, and I'm really curious too because I have no way of knowing of how many people participated. I know a couple.
I know we've seen quite a few.
I know Ellie. Shout out
there.
to Ellie. Obviously, you guys. Mama Sheen.
Yep.
That you
We
guys
saw
said
her
you
on the
saw.
trail.
On the trail,
And then there was another dude you said you saw ahead of you at the time with the backpack on. He was kind of
it didn't look like he was exercising. But
Yeah.
he could have been, I guess.
It's always weird. Yeah, when I hopped off. So the first one was hidden. God, where did I have the first one? What was the trailhead? I forget. Already.
That was the Chuckanut Mountain.
Yeah, I was up at Chuckanut the urban interurban trails, but it was Raptor Ridge, Lost Lake. What was the other one? I don't even remember my
Huckleberry.
own. Huckleberry. And it all intersected on one specific trail.
It was on the Hemlock.
The Hemlock. See, I don't even remember where I put my...
It's funny because I still have my notebook with all the notes that we made as the clues went along.
Trying to analyze the psychology of Sal and how he thinks.
And do the math on how far each of the trails are and realistically.
Well, it's crazy because on the first one, I found a spot to hide it, right? So I'm like, okay, this is where I'm going to hide it. So, you know, anytime I find the spot, I always take the GPS coordinates, I take a picture, and I obviously have all my pictures that led up to the location. And then I go home, I start designing the clues, and then I have to make a couple trips back, because after I design the clues, I then have to walk the trail again to see if that makes sense.
Right.
And then sometimes I'm like, oh, there's too much of a gap between this clue and this clue. There needs to be something connecting. And so you tweak it a little bit, but it's so funny because the second time I went out, I went to the spot. And it was supposed to be on Hemlock. But I was looking at the map and I'm like, I don't think this is Hemlock. It seems like it's still on like a different trail or something. And there was literally a girl running by. I was like, excuse me. I was like, do you? It's like, is this such and such? Is this Hemlock Trail? And she goes, I think so. She goes, I'm not sure. I was like, yeah. And we were looking at the GPS and somehow I figured out it wasn't. And I actually was designing it to go to Hemlock, but I wasn't even on Hemlock.
Oh, gotcha.
So then I had to actually hike even further up to where you guys found it.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to go back multiple times. And honestly, the spot where I have now, I had done the hike and I figured, okay, I think I'm gonna hide it in this area, but I'd been out for like 3 hours, and I was like, okay, I had hiked the trail, and I was like, all right, I don't know where I'm gonna hide it, but I know it's this area. Then I have to go back and do the hike all over again, and then come home, design the clues, go hike it again. So you have to keep going back and back and back, and
Very familiar with the trail.
and then you finally. Yeah, so this one, I'm pretty stoked about this one. I think
Okay.
I might try to do it a little bit different, or it might be something similar. I had thought about releasing maybe 2 or 3 clues all at once, because the first clue tells you maybe the general area, but it'd be nice to have more to bite onto, where I'm trying to design the clues where if you explore further on your own, you can find some stuff. Like
Okay.
the clues, like clue 1 is going to say this, but it's kind of a riddle or like a little story, so you can venture on past clue 1 and see
Okay.
things that will clue you in that you're on the right track.
Gotcha.
And so each clue's gonna, I'm trying to design it so that each clue pushes you forward a little bit on your own.
Yeah.
But
I like that, because we were hanging on every week. We'd be like, okay, we'd wake up and be like, all right, he's releasing the clue today.
yeah,
Like, we got to figure out what it is. And the day that you released the last clue, I didn't want to get out of bed. He came in and he said, all right, the clue's been released. I know where it is. I'm like certain of it. We're going.
What was the last clue? I don't
It
even
was
remember.
it was the mileage. So you had done the
Oh,
before
that's
that you
right.
had done the where worlds collide that showed all of the.
Did you guys put it together that it was Hemlock Trail?
Not quite. So we just like, I think that's the day that we went to Raptor Ridge, the day before that one was released, because we got the fact that you were referencing those 3 trails, but I was trying to look for a point where those 3 trails all intersected, like rather than just like leading to the
touching it.
Hemlock Trail that touches all 3. But I couldn't find one that like they all intersected at, so, but it looked like up at Raptor Ridge at least a couple of them did. So we ended up going all the way up there. But then once you released the mileage, I was like piecing it together on the map where it was, and I'm like, I realized that would have corresponded to a section of the Hemlock, and then it clicked that that's what you meant.
And the day prior, when we had gone up to Raptor Ridge, he said, hey, maybe we should step off and check over here. And at that point, I was so tired. We were on our way down. My legs were jello. I said, no, we'll just come back later. And I wish we would have, because it was in the area
Literally
that he
right
was.
there.
And we were trying to look at the terrain, like, because it's really hard because the terrain, there's so much of it out there, and there's ferns everywhere, But we were just trying to match up like the video of you hiding the treasure to like, what might be around.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Like when I do that video, I was like, I'm not gonna raise the camera too much. It's just gonna be like, here it is, because it's like literally everywhere in Bellingham looks like that.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. So this next one, hopefully, be at the end of the month, and it's a lot of work. It'll probably be, and then in October we're doing another different promo, which I haven't talked too much about yet, but yeah, I'm just trying to imagine like future ones. Like I want to do one that's really epic.
Yeah.
Like I want to get really crazy with one at some point. But
Oh man.
yeah. So do you
Forrest
guys?
Fenn style.
What's that? Oh, I know. I just don't know if I can write a poem that's good enough.
Yeah.
You got to be somewhat, I guess, poetic or just
Yeah.
like. And do you run that by anybody? Like when I hid the first one, I didn't like no one knew what it was because me.
Yeah.
Like I don't trust anyone to bring. I don't care because they like drop hints or tell people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be nice to know how many people. I should do a survey, I think, on Instagram to see how many people like went for the first one. You know? But
Gauge interest a little.
yeah. So what have you guys been doing for fun lately?
Oh.
Besides, I know you guys said you might go to Yakima, do some rock hunting. Is that what you said?
Rock hounding.
Yeah, rock hounding.
That's
what
we've been doing in general. Yeah.
And
not in Yakima, but just all over. Yeah.
Nice. Are you guys happy this whole shutdown is slowly being lifted and we can go out again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll help the forest clear up a little. There's a lot of people out doing the things that we normally do. So it's hard to socially distance on
literally the first day, like, because I don't know, you guys know about the phases, phase 1, phase 2, like literally phase 1 when that happened here, that was the first day you were allowed to go out to the parks where they opened up hiking in parks.
Right.
I went out to look for a place to hide the chest. Packed.
Yeah.
Everywhere, people. Yeah. I think 0 face masks on anybody.
I know.
Yeah.
Everything packed. Everyone together doing the thing. It felt so good.
Yeah.
It felt so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we're in phase 2, but Yeah, it's a crazy too how many trails there are even just around this area.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're
They're
very
everywhere.
fortunate. You guys probably have a ton in
Yeah.
Colorado, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Did you guys
Yeah.
go out hiking a lot as a kid, like with your family and stuff? You guys really outdoorsy types?
Yeah, my
Uh-huh.
mom knew the forest really well,
Mhm.
so we would go
What's the
all over the
elevation at
place.
where you grew up?
It was at 8,000 feet. And that was
Dang.
like the town that we were in. The mountains were even higher.
Wow. So when you come down
Yeah.
to sea level, you must be just energy, yeah, tons of
Well,
energy, right?
I did.
Easy.
I haven't lived in Colorado for a long
Uh-huh.
time, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you guys gone out any hikes recently?
Yeah, kind of. We walk our dog all the time, so
Uh-huh.
nothing. I don't think we've done anything too huge lately.
The
but-
main one that we like to do is out by Baker Lake.
Uh-huh.
And if you can get out when the water level's low enough, you can walk a lot of the lake bed.
Oh, that's
And now that the water's started
cool. Uh-huh.
flushing and it's pretty much underwater where we like to go. But
Yeah.
so we're working on finding some new places.
Uh-huh.
But there, like you said, there's so much around here.
I know
And
Mount
Yeah.
Baker's an area where I haven't hiked like the only hike I've been on was God, what was it? Is a lake lake. What was the name of it? Lake something. It was when. So shout out to Treasure Hikes, Treasure underscore hikes. He's the guy that inspired me and influenced me and gave me the idea to do our own treasure hunt.
Yeah.
So check him out. They're getting ready to do his own treasure hunt, and it's basically the same thing we do. Not quite as much money in it and stuff, but it's local businesses donate. We donated to it. So he does a treasure hunt where he hides a chest every 48 hours, releases a clue. But we had gone out looking for it and went up to Mount Baker.
Okay.
What was it, Lake Ann Trailhead? Lake Ann, maybe? I think
That
that's
sounds
what
familiar.
it was called. We
Yeah.
thought it was there. I've participated with some of my friends twice in his treasure hunts. Never even came. We were way off on the first one. The second one, they were close. They knew the right trailhead. They just didn't go far enough in.
Oh.
Like one of the
Okay.
people that was working, that we were all kind of working together trying to solve it. He hiked on the trail it was on, but just didn't go far enough in.
Oh dang.
So
That's
yeah, but it's tricky when you design the clues too, because if you show landmarks of like, you know how like at the start of every trailhead there's like that little board
Yeah.
that
Oh,
has
yeah.
all the maps. Like you don't want to just show that. So sometimes they'll show like a piece of wood on the board,
Oh.
just like the design. So like
That's
we were
smart.
literally looking up Google Images.
yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to match, like literally we're going to like alltrails.com. There's
That's
all these
smart.
trail
Oh,
web
yeah,
ad-
and
and,
just
looking
trying
at
to look at all
images
of
of
the
each
signs.
trailhead of hikers and like doing Google
That is
image
smart.
search.
Wow.
That is really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of the clue that you would put out where it was the second map
Mhm.
at Arroyo before you start heading up on the
Uh-huh.
trail. And you would take, it's a really, really tall map,
Uh-huh.
like ridiculously tall. Short
Uh-huh.
people like me, I can't read it. Way
Uh-huh.
too far up there. But you had taken a picture of the bottom portion of the pole
Yeah.
right before the map
Oh,
started.
I remember that.
And
yeah.
I remembered it because I remember lamenting about how silly it was that they had a map way up there.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
immediately it clicked, but I didn't think about Google searching.
Did you
That's pretty
guys-
smart.
Which clues were the hardest for you guys to solve, or did you guys solve them all pretty easy?
Honestly,
I mean, I think I think the hardest one was probably the one with
The Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
one,
Did you have to
'cause
skip
that
any
one-
clues and just wait for the next one to roll around because you couldn't figure it out, or?
Not really.
Uh-huh.
some of them took us a little bit longer to figure out, where you
Yeah.
have to, pause and then come back to it and then be like, okay, what
Yeah.
does this mean?
Yeah.
Fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that the one with the coordinates hidden in it, I didn't catch on to that for a while.
Uh-huh.
Because I was just,
Oh,
like,
the
looking,
clip
yeah, I
from
was,
The
With the
Witcher.
portal.
yeah, I was just like looking at like the content and then like
Yeah.
trying to like
People don't realize how hard it is
piece
to
together
design
what
even
they're-
that, because I designed it right, and then like you don't want to make it too obvious, but you don't want to make it impossible. But
Yeah.
so then like you're playing with like the font size and the
Yeah.
color and like just the font in general. And then I would show people, be like, look at this, like, can you see it? Like, and then they look at it and be like, no, what? Like
yeah.
you have to
Perfect.
constantly look at it to
Yeah.
see, and then like zoom in to
Yeah.
see like the coordinates. I didn't know if anyone was gonna get that. And then her running to the portal was kind of a hint, like, okay, this is where you go, like
Right.
the coordinates.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch that show? Have you seen
No,
that?
I
No, we
really.
haven't. Our
Yeah.
friend Ricky, shout out to Ricky.
Shout out to
He
Ricky.
has been trying to
It's
get
so
us to watch
good.
it. Lots
Yeah.
of recommendations.
Well, Netflix designed it to be like a Game of Thrones replacement.
Oh,
when
okay.
they- and I didn't like. I started watching it. I'm like, okay, it's good,
Mhm.
insane fight scenes, but it
Yeah.
wasn't until like episode 3 or 4 that it hooked me. I'm like, oh, this is like the clip that I posted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was that episode that got me hooked. It was so good.
The animation's crazy.
Oh my god, the special effects. Do you guys like
Yeah.
sci-fi type fantasy shows like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Is that your
yeah.
jam? Do you guys watch Game of Thrones?
Not much of it. A little
No?
bit. Yeah, we're not like super into the sci-fi stuff, but
Uh-huh.
like I like to watch like some of the like true crime shows and stuff
Uh-huh.
like
And
that.
Hitchhiker's Guide.
and
just, like,
That
yeah.
technically counts as sci-fi.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
and like I like the Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and stuff. Like there's definitely some, but like we haven't been super into Marvel or anything like that.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings. I know Amazon bought the rights to it, and they're
What?
releasing a prequel.
Really?
They spent $1 billion on it.
Wow.
They're releasing, I think it's 5 seasons. They're doing a prequel to the whole storyline or whatever.
Like pre The
Oh.
Hobbit, even
Like
Oh,
legit.
Oh, like
I don't
like,
know if it's pre-Hobbit or if it's pre-Lord of the Rings.
it could be.
It
Like
might.
the
It could be
ancient
pre-Hobbit.
history or whatever of the Middle Earth.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I mean, so can you look that up? Look up Amazon Lord of the Rings, and then tell us what it says. I want to get this right. But yeah, it's coming out. I think maybe next year.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm
Are they
so
doing it on
stoked.
Prime?
That's interesting.
Yeah, I
On the
imagine.
Prime
That's
Video, yeah,
awesome.
that makes
Okay.
sense.
Let me know when you find something.
His first episode date 2021.
Okay, does it have a synopsis of what it's about? See if you can find like a thing on Wikipedia or like a news headline that says when it's going to take place or what it's going to be. But yeah, I'm super stoked. Did you guys see The Hobbit and all the Lord of the Rings? 3 Hobbits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought the extended edition of each one. So you guys see the extended?
No.
think
It's like an
so.
extra
Yeah.
45 minutes of footage.
Yeah, we had
And-
the extended versions of the old ones. My family did anyway,
Oh, okay.
but not the Hobbit ones. Yeah.
I'm not a big reader. It's hard for me to read. I can
Fair
barely
enough.
get through audiobooks. I listen to podcasts nonstop.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, books are always a struggle. But when I read the Hobbit when I was like 21 or 22,
Yeah.
I blew through that book right away. And then because it was like that thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got Lord of the Rings at Barnes and Noble. I got a really nice copy, which is that thick.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
Like after I got like maybe that far in, I'm like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so heavy.
Yeah, it is.
But the movies were like insane.
Oh yeah.
Did you find anything?
Yeah, it just says it's set in the second age of Middle Earth before the events of the Lord of the Rings novel and films. So it doesn't really say much, but it says the first episode is supposed to be in 2021.
Okay.
Dang.
Yeah.
I wonder who they chose for the cast.
Right.
I know,
That'd be
right?
Interesting. I mean, if it's all going to be different characters, probably. So.
First of all,
Yeah.
with The Witcher, I'll say
Uh-huh.
this real quick. The actor's name is like Henry Cavill or whatever. He played Superman.
Mhm.
First of all, I hate Superman. Out of all the superheroes, that one is the dumbest. That one infuriates me. I won't watch the Superman. Like just because it's like he's like a news reporter, but he takes off his glasses and slicks back his hair, and also no one knows who he is, and he's like Superman. Also, he's like can't be like nothing stops
yeah,
him.
he's got like every power. It's kind of
Yeah,
like,
I would hate
lame.
on superhero movies for a long time because I was like, it's such a boring story because it doesn't matter how dangerous or scary or badass the villain is.
Yeah.
They're always just gonna win,
Yeah.
and the bad guy's gonna get exiled or
Yeah.
like killed, but then come back. Right? It's
Right.
like no one dies, so there's
Yeah.
It's a
no.
predictable plot.
It's such a boring. It's like. How is that storytelling when you know the end to the story before you even turn
Yeah.
on the movie? But it's more of like special effects and humor and it's
Mhm.
fun. So I don't know. I've softened up a little bit, and because I watched some that I really enjoy. but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus nowadays they start killing everyone and stuff. I haven't really followed Marvel, but I hear
Yeah.
the later ones are pretty intense.
Spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
Well, you have to step up your game now and start killing people.
Yeah.
Just killing the heroes and the main characters to
Yeah.
make it more like I guess real life,
Yeah.
or to make it like there's something scary on the line.
Right.
Yeah.
'Cause
They
if
get
it-
you emotionally
Yeah.
attached to the
Yeah.
character in
Exactly.
the next.
But you have to make it seem like the bad guy can win.
Yeah.
When I remember this, like most movies growing up, like the good guys always win.
Hmm.
Like none of the main characters would ever die in any TV show or movie. They were
Yeah.
pretty much always safe.
Yeah.
And unless the actor or actress was like leaving the show, they kill her off.
Yeah.
Right,
Or
right.
kill them off.
So they can explain their
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah.
But Game of Thrones was the first show. I'm not gonna spoil alert, even though it's been out for like 8-9
Yeah.
years. But like there'll be seasons, 2 or 3 seasons of these main characters, fighting with these other characters, and then the main characters and the stories, and then in one season they'll kill them all off,
Yeah.
and you'll be like, "What?" You're like, where does the show go now? Like you literally just murdered everybody that was the main
Right.
character,
Yeah.
but it kept going. And it was good.
Yeah.
The greatest show ever made until season 8. And then they screwed it so hard. I
what I
still
heard.
think about it. But... So what shows? So you guys said you like true crime. Did you guys ever watch True Detective on HBO? I know it's not true crime, but it's the detective type show.
Yeah.
You guys are into the crime shows?
Yeah.
Mostly me.
Uh-huh. Which ones have you been into? You've been watching?
I like a lot of the documentaries, like the Ted Bundy tapes and stuff, especially the local ones. They kind of freak me out.
Yeah.
Especially the idea that the Green River Killer was right there.
I'm gonna down just a little bit on you.
Yeah, no worries.
You got him trapped.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, there's a bar here in town that he went to, right? It was Ted
think
Bundy. He was
so.
this, it was the one on Holly Street, I think.
Yeah.
Which, the serial killer thing's fascinating. I wrote a paper on psychopaths because I was a psychology major, and this is really creepy. So when I had to write the paper, I had to do research. So psychopaths, there's something part of their brain hasn't developed like in a normal human to where they can feel compassion and empathy,
Right.
and they don't get human emotion, like literally don't feel. So what they do is they learn to fake it. And so one of the examples they gave was, imagine a little kid like runs into a road, like he's chasing a ball or whatever, and he gets hit by a car, and the neighbors and everyone are around this kid, and they're crying and upset, and the psychopath is there, and he doesn't understand why they're crying and so upset. Like, he doesn't feel anything.
Yeah.
So then he'll go in his house and go in the bathroom and go in the mirror and mimic and
try to train himself
act
too.
out crying and like empathy. But he doesn't. They literally don't feel it. Like they
Yeah.
can't. And it's
That's
weird because when I would see O.J. Simpson, the second time he got busted, when he actually got sent to prison, I saw him crying in court, and it looked like the fakest. It really brought me back to that moment when I read that paper and read about that, because I'm like, it's so fake. This guy literally feels nothing. He literally murdered 2 people. Zero. I mean, even today, I've seen it talked about on podcasts how he's on Twitter. He's like, "Hello, Twitter world." I'm, because he's out golfing, and he just like on social media now. But just insane.
It is.
Yeah.
Just like nothing happened at all.
I forget the estimate. I think they say like, I want to say 1 in 100, but I mean, can you Google like what percentage of people are psychopaths? I want to say 1 in 100. Maybe it's 1 in 1,000. It's still too many.
I was gonna say that's
more
a bad.
than you would expect.
That's
anyway.
a lot.
Yeah.
I know.
A little scary.
Well, did you hear recently about the mother who her kids were missing, Lori Vallow, and her 2 kids that were
I've been on a
missing,
news
JJ
break
and Tylee.
recently, so is that a fairly new thing?
It's been going on for like a year. They've been looking for her kids. She ran from Idaho to Hawaii. She like leads this weird doomsday cult.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't hear about this
they
at
have
all.
their own podcast even.
No,
Yeah.
get out.
They have a podcast for everything.
And she's on the podcast?
Yeah.
Currently?
Well, not currently. She's in jail.
Okay, so she got caught and convicted.
But just
killing her kids.
recently, they just found her children's bodies buried at her new husband's house, and their whole family has just been surrounded by like suspicious deaths.
Dude, it is the sickest thing in the world when a mom or dad or whatever kill their own kids.
Yeah.
It's so unfathomable. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, that's the only way you can
hear this.
explain it is the sociopaths, like you
Yeah,
were saying,
how
where you
can
just
you-
or psychopaths.
Yeah.
Like they literally, like what was the do you remember the Peterson one? That guy killed his pregnant wife.
Right.
What was his name? Do you know what
dumped her
I'm
in the
talking about?
water.
Dumped her in the
Yeah.
water, and the guys are always having an affair or a mistress.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like their brains are so warped. They think they're just gonna kill off their wife and go live with this other person. Well, why do you even have to kill her? Why don't you just
Well, just
divorce her
have
and
divorce,
go?
right?
Yeah.
I'm
Like-
pretty sure that'd be a lot cheaper anyway than
Yeah.
an attorney.
Yeah.
So unprofessional. Let me turn this on. Did you find anything?
Yeah, it says 1%.
It's 1% of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
psychopaths make up about 1% of the general population and as much as 25% of male offenders in federal correctional centers.
Yeah.
boy.
It's a lot, and you're
That
not
is a
gonna
lot.
rehab. You can't rehab them.
Well, no, because that's
Yeah.
something fundamentally wrong with
It's
your
a
brain.
brain thing,
Yeah.
Right.
which is crazy, right?
That is
Yeah.
kind of scary.
Oh my
I
gosh.
wonder if that's what Ted Bundy's issue was.
Oh, probably for sure. What was there was I don't know if you guys heard about this one. There was a truck driver who they recently caught decades ago. He strangled a couple women and left them off on the side of the road on like off ramps or on ramps of highways.
Oh, geez.
And then you guys know, like because of 23andMe and Ancestry,
Oh,
all this
yeah.
genetic stuff to check,
Yeah.
they were able, because they had some DNA from the evidence from the crime,
Mhm.
I forget what, but they were able to then trace it back because someone in his family, an aunt, uncle, cousin, somebody in his did
Had to have done
23andMe
that,
or
yeah.
the Ancestry, and so they're
Right.
able to then locate like the family members, and they surveil the family members, and they get like a
Mm.
wrapper or a cigarette or some part that they can test, and then they found him and caught him,
Jeez.
and he's just living in a neighborhood,
Just
like average, like you
normal
never
dude.
know, like,
Yeah.
and it just he killed women like decades ago, decades. That's the
crazy.
crazy thing about Like, it's insane. I thought about, have you guys seen the movie There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis?
I have a while ago.
It was
seen
a
it
while ago, yeah.
But think about in that time, like, spoiler alert, he killed the guy pretending to be his brother in the movie. But back then, I was talking about this with my friend. Imagine a time where there's no cameras, no cell phones, no fingerprints, no DNA evidence, no dental records. You literally could be traveling from like Montana to Washington, and along the way, you just encounter people and you kill them and you keep going, and no one ever knows.
Yep.
Like, how, there's no what evidence is there?
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, literally a wagon. You'd have to then go along and I guess talk to people at like outposts who traveled through here. Think about how easy it'd be to get away with murder. Like, even now, if you look, I can't remember percentages, but if you look up like murder rate convictions in like places like Mexico or other like South American countries or other like, you know, third world countries, some of those places it's like 5% murder rate.
Jeez.
Like, they solve like 5% of the murders and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
Like, imagine
Note
back
to self.
then. I mean, this is 2020, right? 5%.
Yeah.
But imagine back then. I mean, think about. I just wonder how rampant murders were. Just never got.
Well,
solved.
yeah. In the early frontier days, that's, you know, everyone carried a gun, and if you have any
That's how you
disputes,
solved
you
your
just
yeah.
shoot each other in the street, basically.
I know. It was crazy. There was. God, this one was really sick. There's. I kind of go down the rabbit hole of true crime too.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch? I haven't watched it on Netflix. It was the Madeline McCann. Is it? What
Is it the girl who went missing with her family?
Yeah,
and they were
and
on vacation. Madeline
Is it
McCann.
Panama or Peru? I forget. Wow, where was it?
I think it was
Portugal. No,
somewhere with a P.
maybe a P word. Yeah, look up Madeline Mann, Mann, I think it is. But I had been following that for years. They had a website where they'd post updates. So they were in their apartment. They left their apartment to go get drinks at like a place close by. Someone climbed in their window, snatched their kid, who was like, I think 2, 3, 4 at the time, disappeared. Now it's been, I think, maybe like 10 years, and they've been looking all over for her. And just recently, you know, this Netflix documentary came out, The Disappearance of Madeline Mann, I think, and they think they found a German guy who they suspect, who was living there at the time, who is, I think, is currently in jail, who had been convicted of some other child abduction thing, like focusing in on him.
Okay.
But it's just.
Now I feel bad for ever suspecting her parents.
Did you think? Well, of
I
course,
totally did.
because that's usually who it is, right?
Yeah. Well, and they're like rich, so I figured maybe, you know, they just got tired of having a kid and just sold her off to a family, you know. Me trying to be optimistic.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she's just living with another
Dude,
family.
you always hope
for
with the
identity.
best with like little kids like that, but it's usually never good.
Yeah.
What did it say? Portugal. Oh, okay.
Interesting.
And how does it say? What does it say about her? Is there a little snippet?
It says she vanished in 2007. It does say the same thing about the German man that was a prime suspect. Went missing from a holiday apartment where she had been sleeping alone with her younger twin siblings as her parents dined at a nearby restaurant.
First of all,
wow.
How do you just leave to go dine and just leave your kids alone? Sleeping
like,
little kid, like what?
Well, and why is one of them gone, but the
yeah,
aren't?
I know the other two didn't.
That's what my first thought was.
bizarre.
Is
weird, right?
yeah. And that's got to be hard as siblings as you get older. You know, you're young, you don't know what happened, and you know you're trying to help your parents find your sister, but.
Do you have a secret like desire to be like a private detective?
Oh yeah, totally.
Because I do. Like whenever I hear these stories, I'm like, I want to go investigate and find. Like there was, God, this one was horrible. This was a couple years ago. 2 girls. A mom dropped off 2 girls, her daughter and her daughter's friend, to go walk on this park type area where there was a trail, and they were killed. And one of the girls, though, however, on her cell phone got a picture of the guy on the bridge and a recording of his voice.
Oh,
and
shoot.
They haven't solved it yet, but you can go on the internet.
Is that the Delta murders or something?
It might be
Delphi. That's.
You can go on but in the recording he's like down the hill, down the hill, down the hill. Like he got the murderer's voice.
Yeah.
And the cops didn't say exactly how they died because they conceal they don't
have to keep some of it.
But they have a picture of the guy, and it's kind of blurry. He's kind of off in the distance, but they kind of have a description of it.
Oh, jeez.
But it's just like, and it's one of those things where it's like a small populated area, town where the guy may have been passing through or something, and it's like all these like things. Like you just wonder how many. I think today, like, God, it's gotta be impossible to get away with murder. Like, everyone's got those Ring doorbells on their homes.
Oh yeah.
There's
Yeah.
GPS tracking on your phone,
They can ping your cell
your
phone.
computer. Like, there's just so much. Like, you're being
Yeah.
recorded probably so much more than you even
Oh
realize.
yeah, all
Oh,
the
yeah.
time.
And it's like, how do people get, and like DNA evidence now, where there's the thing with like, what is it, clothing fibers, or like off your clothes they can like piece things together. And like, do you guys ever see the movie The Town with Ben Affleck?
I haven't.
think
What
so.
is that one?
Well, they're bank robbers. So I guess there's a town in the U.S. It's where the most bank robbers in history have come from. I want to say like Charleston. It's a place in Boston, I think.
Okay.
And so it's just, it's a fictional story about bank robbers, but they're very like, they're professional bank robbers. So like, they would go and before they show them like getting ready to go out, where they're just like scrubbing themselves down, and then when they're in the bank and after they rob it, they take bleach and they dump it over everything to like
Kill
the
all
clothing
the-
fibers and everything. And
Oh,
it's
jeez.
really kind of cool to see like behind the scenes how they
How
a
they
really
get away
cool
with it.
rabbit hole you should go down. If you go on YouTube, look up Vanity Fair,
Mhm.
their channel. They have these things where experts chime in on like detective shows like NCIS and stuff to say how realistic it is. And like, I've watched ones for like an FBI detective. I don't know if he's in the FBI, but he was a detective who solved like 200 or 250 murders. And then they watch like clips from movies and TV shows to talk about how realistic it is, and they kind of
Okay.
break it down and analyze it.
I've always wondered
It's so cool.
because you see where they go enhance. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like that.
Yeah, and I watched ones on like a couple I watched recently was like mob movies. This guy who was like for 30 years was embedded in mobs, in the mafia. He worked cartels in Mexico, Russian mafia, where he was like embedded as an informant and like
Oh,
was
geez.
part of the crew. And so we'd watch like different clips from like Scarface, Donnie Brasco, The Departed with like Leonardo DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson, and he'd evaluate scenes and tell you like how realistic it is. And he'd even talk about like stuff with the FBI, and it's really cool to kind of see like the behind the scenes of like
Yeah.
how these things go
And
down.
to see how far we have come, because
Yeah.
I think that we just assume that
Uh-huh.
people don't get away with it because we've got all this great technology. But it's
Did you
still
guys
coming
see
along.
True Detective on HBO?
I feel like I haven't.
Matthew
don't think so.
McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. There's 3 seasons out. First season was great. Every season's a different storyline with totally different actors.
Okay.
First season was great. Second season was terrible. Third season was good. I didn't care for the ending, but you should watch season 1 on HBO of True Detective. They're detectives, I think, in the 80s, where they're hunting a serial killer. And this is pre-technology, right? So you have to kind of see the old school way of like doing detective work and trying to hunt down. And I'm telling you, one of the best things you'll ever see.
Okay. I'll have
Is
to put it
the
on my
acting's
list.
out of this world.
Yeah.
What other shows you guys messing with right now?
Dave on Hulu. Have
Dude,
you
what's
seen
up?
Dave?
We just watched Dave. We
Yeah.
blew through it.
The
It was
whole
so good.
all the
Yeah.
You
episodes.
guys watched
are
all of
available?
them?
Not yet. We've been
so
trying to
funny.
go slow because it's so hard not to binge all of them. But
Uh-huh.
I feel like you just gotta. They
Uh-huh.
keep putting them out every week, though. I think, right?
Well, I bought it on it, so it's crazy. So she has access to her friend's Hulu, which I didn't know at the time. So I bought the season on Amazon for like $15.
Oh.
So they're all out. We watched all of
Okay.
them.
Okay.
When I'm on Instagram, if I
Yeah.
see a clip of a show or movie, I save it and favorite it so I don't forget about it.
That's smart.
One of the podcasts I listen to, Bad Friends, has Andrew Santino in it,
Sorry.
who is you're good, who is here it pulls down, who is a comedian, but he's in the show. Dave, he's the guy with the red hair.
Oh, okay.
Who's Dave's friend? Like, you know which guy I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I think so.
You'll see him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's a comedian. Andrew Santino. He's on the Bad Friends podcast. Bobby Lee. They're both comedians, but he's a really funny dude. But that's how I found out about it. But I saw a
Okay.
clip on Instagram, and I was like, "This is hilarious."
Yeah.
And so I saved it because I see cool movies when I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to forget about that, so I'll save it, and then I'll go back to my save tab and like look for cool movies and stuff. We're gonna watch Ready or Not tonight. Have you guys seen the
Ooh.
trailer for that?
I haven't.
This woman's gonna get married into a family. I guess that's pretty prominent.
Mhm.
And so she goes to the house. It's the day before the wedding, and they play a game of hide and seek where she has to hide and they have to find her, but they try to kill her. Like they have weapons and guns, and like
Oh,
it's a game where you have. I guess she has to survive until the morning, and then she can get married and come into the family.
Jeez.
So it's like this.
It's like the purge
yeah.
meets.
So it's like a crazy twist on like I don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
That
They've been
is-
trying to really up the game on horror movies,
Yeah.
which is good because for the longest time they're so dumb.
Well, when reality gets so weird, I mean, how do you up the ante?
Yeah. Do you guys like
Yeah.
horror movies?
Kind
Somewhat.
of. I'm really squeamish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you guys seen? What's the last horror movie you seen? You remember?
I don't know.
I think the last one I watched in earnest was, oh gosh. Well, it's more like satirical when you look back on it, but Paranormal Activity.
I haven't seen any of those.
The first ones were good. The last
Yeah.
one was just too hokey.
We started
I
it.
don't think we're all
Missy, was that last summer? We did the Conjuring. We went through the Conjuring movies. We were watching.
A long time ago.
Yeah, we were gonna. That was like last year. The Conjuring. We were going through each movie, and we decided, oh, these are dumb. We stopped. Well, there was like 5 of them out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with like Hollywood movies, they always go like based on real events or based on a true story. But then when you look up the real story, it's like barely like
Yeah.
similar.
Right.
It's like somebody in a house was possessed or they thought was possessed, and then they do this huge
They just,
movie
like-
that's like so far off, and this
Yeah.
person probably is mentally ill or something.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
American Horror Story. We
No.
saw some of those.
It's not, no, it's definitely The Conjuring because we watched them and then we bailed on like the 5th one. Remember when the person was like in a chair in the basement and they were doing like all this stuff, and then we even looked it up. We looked up the real facts of it because the family was, there was their reports of what happened,
Okay.
and they think like I don't believe in any of that stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
They-
probably mental illness.
Yeah.
And then the church intervening to
Probably.
help.
Do we watch Annabelle too? Annabelle was part of the Conjuring series, right? Yeah, so we were going down that whole rabbit hole.
Oh, geez.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen the was it
Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity. I haven't
Yeah.
seen that one. I'm trying to think of like the last good one. We saw Us. I didn't like it. Have you guys seen Us?
I haven't.
Oh, don't waste your time.
Okay.
It was one of those ones that got tons of hype. Everyone liked it, but I hated it. It's like
Yeah.
Bird Box on Netflix. Oh,
Oh,
it
I
pissed me
didn't
off
like that one.
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's, yeah.
Did you guys watch a lot of TV?
Mostly Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
We cut the cable cord a long time
Yeah.
ago.
Did you guys watch Handmaid's Tale?
I tried to, but gosh, it's. Ugh. I can only get through one episode without getting so grossed out. I have to just take a bit of a break.
It was heavy, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. We're all. You're not caught up on season 3, right?
No.
Yeah.
But I know what you're talking about. That show's hard to watch, especially if you're a woman.
Yeah.
It gets
So,
really graphic. But some of those things.
yeah.
Yeah.
And some of it's just like, we're not that far gone as a society, but it's like, damn, if we got that far gone, I'd have to invest in a sword.
You just have to move. Get out of here. Well, it's crazy because I always explain that show to people as like modern day ISIS in the U.S.
Right.
Because when ISIS took over, if you were like a gay or homosexual, they kill you, which is what they do in Handmaid's Tale. They hang them, and then it's basically religious law
Yeah.
that governs everything. Women have no rights.
Yeah.
They can't read. They can't have jobs.
Just for
which,
procreation.
which is basically what ISIS is.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're forced to have sex with the commanders in order to have kids, because in the show there's huge infertility all over the world. They don't really explain why, some sort of toxic outbreak or something.
Right.
But women can't have kids anymore except for a handful of women that are called handmaids, and they're basically forced to go sleep with commanders who are, I guess, high up in the religious government,
Right.
produce a baby, and then they don't get to keep the kid. They have to then go on to the next family and produce another kid.
Right.
And so they're basically forced to do that, and basically raped. Also, no technology. They're not allowed. There's like no internet. They're only allowed to use it for like it's weird because when you watch the show, like the refrigerator is like an old, totally inefficient like refrigerator from the 80s. Like it's all old appliances, but they'll drive Mercedes. It's weird. I don't get it. So there's a few things that are confusing. But yeah, they basically have no rights, and it's basically just ISIS. Basically, just religion took over,
Yeah.
Right.
and their like extreme interpretation of it. And
Jeez.
yeah, that show's pretty
Does
intense.
sound pretty heavy.
Same with Black Mirror. That's another one I can only watch like one episode at a time of. Have you seen any of those?
I've seen 2.
Yeah.
I saw 2 episodes. What were the ones? Yeah, one. Okay, I saw the very first episode of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Something with a pig. Do you remember that? Do you ever seen that one where
Oh,
someone gets
yeah.
kidnapped and the prime minister
So the
has
prime
to have sex
minister's
with a
daughter.
pig, otherwise they're gonna kill her or something
Right.
on TV.
Yeah.
And then I saw another one where some sort of futuristic thing where they're like on treadmills to earn credits.
Bikes,
The one
yeah.
that's like American Idol.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
and the
it's
girl wants to be
society.
like a singer, but turns out going into porn, and they like
Yeah.
force her into porn or something
Yeah.
weird. But they were so dark
That's
and
crazy.
depressing that I'm like, why I don't want to watch these.
I know.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
mind dark sometimes, but I don't know. Like, it's just
There's a lot of social commentary in it, I think,
Yeah.
especially in the one where they were on the treadmills. You know, you have the different levels of society. You have
Uh-huh.
the people who were just bare minimum just doing, producing electricity, being on a treadmill,
Yeah.
cleaning up after the people on the treadmill. And then once you get so far, then you have the chance at becoming
something else.
big,
Like
something,
you level up.
right? And you don't have to, slave anymore. You get to be a celebrity essentially,
Yeah.
but you have to drink the compliance juice, and you
Yeah.
have to do it their way. And that episode really messed me up at the end, where the guy was like trying to make a point. He's holding the piece of glass up to his neck, and he's like, this isn't a performance. This is messed up. What you guys are doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And then the final end scene is him
Forced to watch.
Well, it's
Like,
him like doing his own podcast, where at the end he holds the knife to his neck like it's a big thing.
Yeah.
So now he has been brainwashed himself.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've literally only seen 2 episodes. I hear great things about it. They actually delayed releasing this next season of Black Mirror, I heard, because of all the stuff going on in the world right now. But I should maybe revisit it, because I hear some of the episodes talked about on the podcast, and it sounds really cool and intriguing.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch Bandersnatch on Netflix, where you can choose how the movie plays out?
No, I haven't.
It's called Bandersnatch. And what happens? Did you guys growing up? You ever read those Choose Your Own Adventure books? That's what it is. It's your Choose Your Own Adventure movie. So you have like your controller in your hand, and a part in the movie comes up where the character has to make a choice, and you get to decide what he does.
Interesting.
And there's like 5 to 8 different endings depending on the choice. I mean, so can you Google how Bandersnatch endings, like how many Bandersnatch endings there are?
That's really neat. So you can
It's
play
really cool.
through it a bunch of different times.
Yeah, it's it's a Choose Your Own Adventure movie.
That's crazy.
Yeah, really cool. So I hope they make another one like that, because it was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Did you ever see Hardcore Henry?
I mean, heard of that. What is that?
So that's another just like cool take on a movie, but like it's not like a choose your own adventure thing, but it's filmed entirely in first person, and it's basically got the feel of a first person shooter.
Because it's like high action.
And did it work?
Yeah.
It's
What's
amazing.
Say it again?
Hardcore Henry.
What was that on Netflix?
I think it is, or it was at some point anyway. I don't know if it's
it might be on YouTube at this point too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's cool, huh?
Yeah,
It's a
really
really good
dope.
one.
Is it a first person like shooter?
Yeah,
type
just like super like action packed and everything.
He's being
and that's-
chased by like some government agents, and he's got to like parkour off some buildings and
that's
stuff.
cool.
So the
Yeah.
entire time you're watching it, you're just like,
Do you guys remember when they were trying to make like 3D at-home movies a thing?
yeah.
That's kind of died out and isn't talked about anymore.
Right.
But like the day when VR movies come along, where you can
Oh, yeah.
strap on a helmet and be in the movie in
Right.
some way. Oh,
Can you
Yeah,
imagine
that's gonna be
Jurassic
nuts.
Park in virtual
Oh
reality?
my god.
Yeah, VR consoles seem to be somewhat popular anyway. I haven't
They're
played
catching
around
up.
with them yet much, but
Yeah, I haven't used a Vive or any of them.
yeah, I haven't either.
Well,
I've
now they
seen
have the weird little things that you can slip your phone into and turn your phone into VR.
Yeah,
goggles.
I've seen those where you like put them up to your head.
Yeah.
Like, so did you find how many?
There's 5 main endings.
Yeah, we did it together. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, the VR. When we went to Salt Lake City, we went because we did a road trip a few years ago. We went to this place called The Void. They have them. There's one in Salt Lake City, which I think was the first one. They have them in like LA now. But they're giant warehouses that are like designed in like 3D. So they have walls and special effects, like fans and mist and everything. And then you go there, you put on this VR helmet and this VR pack. We did the Ghostbusters one. And as soon as you put the helmet on and you walk in, the whole warehouse that they have turns into like a Ghostbusters.
Jeez.
So you're in an apartment, and then we were like getting in an elevator, and this girl was like floating towards us in a white dress like a ghost, and she came through the elevator doors, and you feel like a white mist hit you.
Oh, geez.
And then we're in New York, walking on a skyscraper, walking around a skyscraper on scaffolding, fighting the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And it was so real. Wasn't
That's
it the coolest thing
crazy.
ever? And you can interact with the environment. Like you shoot stuff and touch stuff.
Wow.
And
The
it,
room shakes.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's VR.
That's
You know,
amazing.
but you're walking through this warehouse design, and they have all kinds of different ones now, like different themes. There's like a Middle Earth one. There's like ones with ferries, ones with flying like jet,
That's crazy.
and like we'd only done that one. Oh, like
Damn.
that it's like next
That's really
level
cool.
stuff.
I think
Yeah.
that's the future of movies,
Right.
honestly.
Well, it's crazy because do you guys ever hear like Elon Musk or anything talk about the simulation theory?
A little bit. He's a strange one.
Yeah. So basically, the idea is like right now we can create video games and even VR. That's so good. It's basically photorealistic reality.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you guys, the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox that is coming out in December, everyone should go on YouTube and look at the graphics of. I mean, it's literally like real life. Like
Yeah.
like you literally couldn't tell it's not real. It's
Dang.
absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But he's basically saying, as we progress with technology, in terms of video games and VR, we keep designing better and graphics better and better. And VR right now, like I just described what we could do.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to tell the VR world apart from real life.
Right.
Like it's going to get that good. So how do you know you're not living in a simulation right now?
Oh gosh, now we're getting onto some
Jeez.
Truman Show
Yeah,
stuff.
like how do you know that you're not plugged in somewhere in another world and this is just all make believe? It's like a simulation. Like this is not real.
Yeah.
Like this is not base reality.
Have you seen Truman Show?
I have. I own it. Yeah, I own it on DVD. I have a bunch of DVDs I don't even use because who uses DVDs? But
Yeah.
that's one I have. Yeah,
That's
Truman
funny.
Show is really good.
That was the thing that propelled me to pursue the sociology major.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow,
we
that's
watched it in
cool.
our sociology class, and it just
That's
blew
such
my
a
mind.
great movie.
it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah.
It is a little bit weird though when you think about it in the context of what Elon Musk has been saying.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
I know it's true because you don't think about it. It's true. Like you can't make it because it's just gonna get better and better.
Right.
Eventually, you'll be able to wear a suit where at first maybe it just vibrates or maybe it just releases heat or cold when you're in a certain environment.
Yeah.
Eventually, they're gonna have the gloves. They already have the gloves. I've seen where when you're in VR, if you grab a table like in VR, there's haptic feedback where the glove won't let you close your hand, so it feels like you're literally touching something.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just gonna get to the point eventually
Yeah.
because there's just money made and involved, and everyone's gonna try it. Like if you could go home now and put on a VR suit or a helmet and enter any world you want,
Just do
it
whatever
could be
you
Lord of the
want to, yeah.
Rings.
Opens up a world of possibilities.
Pick any world you
Yeah.
want to live in, and you can then go live in that world and be anything you want
Right.
and do anything you want.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Crazy.
most addicting drug in the world.
Well,
Like
yeah.
think about how addicted we are to our cell phones
Yeah.
with like Instagram
Oh,
and
man,
Tinder
yeah.
and Bumble and
Uh-huh.
the news. Like we're just glued.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you think about all the options we have for streaming, like we're so addicted
Yeah.
to just our phones. What if you could just be that, immerse yourself so you're living in it?
Just never leave.
It's
your
over.
house.
That would
yeah.
be
It's
interesting.
over.
Yeah.
I wonder
It's
what
like-
the implications would be for society. Would we
Uh-huh.
all just be like inside our homes, strapped in?
I've thought about it too.
Basically. Well, eventually, then, like, if everyone did it, then there would be no resources unless everything's automated, and then we're basically in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I imagine, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen these articles in the news of kids dying because they play video games for like 2 or 3 days straight. Have you
No
guys ever
way.
seen this?
No.
like they literally
Really?
just like
They
malnourish
literally, like-
themselves, and they don't like.
A game like World of Warcraft, for example, where they
Jeez.
just won't eat or drink or sleep, and they'll be up for days, and they'll just fall over and die.
That's crazy.
I mean, so yeah, Google kids dying from playing video games, like, or staying up late. It's a real thing.
That's
Like,
nuts.
because they're so addicted, they don't eat or stop to sleep. I just imagine.
You're
Like I said,
only
you-
getting dopamine
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the screen.
I mean,
not from...
imagine if you entered a world of VR where you're just in it and you're so immersed. It's gonna trick your brain. Like you're not even gonna know really
Right.
what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, because I was telling someone else about that VR, the Void experience. When we were walking on the scaffolding, I don't know if you guys have ever seen clips on like YouTube or Instagram of people doing VR and then they jump into a wall or hit a TV.
Yeah.
Because have you seen those clips?
Where they're not sure what's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah,
and
because
what's not.
they're like walking on a board and they
Yeah.
jump, but they hit the TV.
Yeah.
When we were doing the VR thing, walking on the scaffolding, you are scared. You feel like you're up high and you're gonna fall. And at one point, like something gets thrown at you and you flinch.
Yeah.
But like it's because your brain doesn't know that's not real, because for all of human history, everything you saw was real
Yeah.
Right.
in your environment.
Exactly.
So the first time in human history, things are happening in your environment that are not real, and your
Yeah.
brain can't react and not know it's not real.
Your
Yeah.
brain's like, what do I do?
Yeah. I mean, think about that. How horrific! Like there was an Aliens VR I saw where the Aliens movie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where like those monsters
Oh,
were coming out.
God.
People were screaming.
Oh, yeah.
You can go
Oh,
on
yeah.
YouTube
That's
and look it up. People are
crazy.
screaming, like tearing it off their head.
Right? They're just like.
Oh,
mm.
I
It's like-
believe it. There would be
Oh, yeah.
times where I'd be playing Call of Duty for so long,
Uh-huh.
and then afterwards, when you're back in reality, you're still looking behind you,
Oh,
expecting someone to get
damn.
you.
Uh-huh.
It's when you do it for like 2 hours.
I've
at a
never
time.
had that. I played
Really?
a shitload of Call of Duty. I haven't had that after effect.
It's usually when you do like the juggernauts and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and you're just like, really. Maybe it's just me because I'm just like
Well,
really
that's
hyper
so
aware.
fascinating, though.
Yeah. My mom would be like, "What's wrong with you?" It's like I'm just
Uh-huh.
coming down from a Call of Duty bender.
Well, I haven't seen this movie, or documentary, but Free Solo on Netflix about that mountain climber who climbs
Yeah.
without. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
there's a VR. If you have VR, you can get I guess I don't know if you call it a game, but there's a program or whatever you can download where you are him. And
Oh,
you're in the movie and you're basically up high and
free climbing.
yeah, and
Oh man,
That's
dude,
bizarre.
terrifying.
heights
Yeah.
are so scary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like you guys seen those? I guess I don't know if they're still doing it, but it was a thing for a long time where kids would go to the tops of buildings and hang off and take a selfie.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And then I saw one in China who fell,
Yeah.
he got off and was doing like a pull up and he lost his grip or strength and he tried to hook his foot onto something and slipped and
ended
just
up
fell
falling.
off.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
there was another guy.
My palms get sweaty. When
Yeah,
I know
it's
mine are
crazy.
too. There's
Yeah.
another guy out at Yosemite, and there's an area where it's a ledge, and
Uh-huh.
if you hang on it, you're actually over the trail. But if you take the picture at the right angle, it makes you look like you're dangling over a
Uh-huh.
big canyon. Well, he was a tourist, and he didn't realize that you hang on the rock that's over the trail. So he went out to the big rock, and he
Uh-huh.
tried to hang off of it, and his arms got tired, and he ended up falling as well.
You
And
die.
yeah, unfortunately.
Oh,
And it's just one of those things where it's like,
dude, the things
social
people do
media.
for the selfies, dude.
Well, yeah, exactly. People have.
Do it for
people
the gram.
often
Do you
die
guys
from
have that
selfies.
adrenaline junkie gene in you?
yes,
Sometimes.
but I usually don't document it.
Oh, you do? Like, so
Yeah.
like what things? Skydive, bungee jump? Like, what do you do? Like,
You know the weird, what's it called? Like the sky coaster, the thing where you're harnessed in and it pulls you back 100 feet, and then
I
you've
don't
got
know
a
that one.
rip cord. They have it
Wait,
at the
what?
Puyallup Fair. Yeah,
say it again. So
it's
it
called the
hooks you.
sky coaster.
It hooks you in and pulls you back.
Yeah, so you're in a full body harness and you're laying flat like Superman, and it pulls you back 100 feet, and it's essentially a giant free swing.
Uh huh.
And then once you're at the top, you have a rip cord.
Uh-huh.
So you're attached by the safety cord, and then you've got one other one, and you pull your rip cord and you swing out, and you're a giant pendulum.
You did it.
Yeah.
Was it
When I
fun?
was young,
Uh-huh.
I was probably only in like 4th grade, and I did it.
You did it in 4th grade. Wow, you're brave, huh?
I like heights.
You-
Well, except mountains.
Yeah.
I don't like all the different factors that come with the wilderness, like, avalanches, rock slides, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Well, I was
But-
saying on the last podcast, when I was a kid, I used to like to climb on my parents' roof. It was fun.
Uh-huh.
But as I've gotten older, I'm afraid of heights now. Like I have a hard time getting at the balconies of like a hotel to just
Yeah.
walk out and see. Like I don't like that.
Interesting.
Like even looking over. Like, are you okay with heights?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what
Generally,
it is.
it depends. I mean, like, if it's like rickety and scary,
Uh-huh.
that's one thing, but
Yeah.
they don't generally bother me.
I feel like as you get older, there is a little more trepidation, though, because when you're a kid, you fall and you just bounce back up and you're
Yeah.
not broken. But as you get older, it's like things start to hurt
There's
more.
some, yeah, that, and I don't know. Maybe there's something about the daredevil in you dies off a little bit because you're like not worth.
Once
Like
all
your brain does the calculation.
once
Your
all
prefrontal
connections
cortex is
form,
Yeah.
developed, yeah.
It's like, yeah, I was talking to someone. Well, one of my girls, one of the girls who works for me at the coffee shop, who was she saying it was? Her brother-in-law or her brother, like as a daredevil, like likes doing risky stuff and motorcycle riding, maybe dirt bikes. I don't remember what it was, but it's broken this and broken that and broken this and broken that. And it's like, it's cool when you're 20, but when you become 60, all those old injuries with all that scar tissue
gosh.
around the old
Yeah.
injuries
Arthritis.
and the
Yeah.
broken bones, like
Yeah.
that stuff creeps up. You're gonna be like crippled. And I was like, is it worth it? Like that few moments of wee
Yeah.
for then busted leg, busted arm,
Yeah.
busted shoulder. I'm like, no. Like,
Arthritis
exactly.
later
did you
on.
find the thing on how many on kids dying from playing video games too long?
Let's see. One article came up. It was a 17-year-old boy in Thailand died from a stroke from playing computer video games too long.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
a
then
stroke.
Google like kids die from playing World of Warcraft too long.
You're going to ruin her search history.
Like, what are you looking at?
Right. It's okay, NSA. It's just Sal.
It's just me.
Yeah.
We're not important enough. No one's listening to us. See what come up with that.
Yeah, someone in China
Uh-huh.
died for playing 9 consecutive hours without a break. 19,
Oh.
not 9.
Oh, 19 hours, yeah. But yeah, there's articles out there of just people playing video games too. I've been there. Like when I started playing World of Warcraft. I don't play now, but I played for 5 years. But I started playing when I was 20, in my
Mhm.
20s. I literally would play for 20 hours straight,
Yeah.
sleep for 4 hours, and then get up and keep playing.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was us on Minecraft.
Crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, we got into that for a little while.
Uh-huh.
Typically, I don't know. I haven't been one to usually sit down and binge like my brother he was the type that could just play all day every day. And but I really couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you guys play anything right now?
On our Switch.
We've got our Switch, yeah.
What are you playing?
We just got Luigi's Mansion. I play a bit of Rocket League and Breath of the Wild.
Scheming on some Animal Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of want
Nice.
the physical copy so I can lend it to my brother,
Mhm.
but it is sold out everywhere, so
Oh,
I have
is
to
it?
do the download.
Yeah. My assist. I don't know if you ever met my assistant Tori, but I let her borrow it. Her and her sister Zoe, because they're playing Animal Crossing on it. But I have Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Mario Kart. We play.
Oh yeah.
I beat Amicia all the time. No, but yeah. But the thing is with video games, this is what happened with me with our like ADD culture. Is I used to be a big into role playing games. Like that was my jam, my number one genre. Like I loved like Oblivion, like and just any role playing game. It was just so cool because you got so much gameplay out of it.
Yeah.
You could play forever, and there's like this giant world.
When you level up, and get new armor,
and then what happened was, I moved away from some of my friends, so we could have some social interaction. We started playing like Call of Duty, World War II. And we played every day for like a year and a half. We just play like all the time together. Yeah. And then because first person shooters are so quick with the dopamine rewards, it's just like ding ding ding, go 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 go, and it's so intense that then when I would go to play role playing games, it was too slow. I'm like,
bored.
oh, I have to go over here to pick this flower to make a potion. I'm like, my such and such is sick. We need a potion to say we need the antidote. And then you have to wander over here. Or like, it was just so slow to get that reward system to kick in, to complete the quest or level up, that I get so bored and I couldn't play them anymore.
I feel that though.
Literally ruined it for me.
It's kind of how I feel about Diablo. Like, it's fun and there's some really exciting parts, but even just like the dialogue of going up to the villagers and like talking to them, I find myself pushing through the dialogue way too fast, and then I have to go back and ask again, like, okay, what is it I'm doing?
Yeah, like when I play World of Warcraft or any, I don't even read the quest. There's usually a thing that tells you where to go on your map,
right? And
I'd briefly look at it. I'd be like, okay, I gotta get 10 of that, okay, and then just go. Like I don't even know the story. It's just like, what am I even doing? Like I'm just killing things, like the reward of killing. It's just weird, right? We're just so addicted to that.
That's what I do in Harry Potter. Wizards Unite.
Nice.
I've been getting into that.
Cool, guys. So, I had an idea, and I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. So I'm gonna get your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
It's just this is in the planning beginning stage. I thought because you guys won the first treasure hunt of having you guys read the first treasure clue,
that could be cool
for the next one. Would you guys be down for that?
I'd be down.
I'm not 100% committed to it, so I might change my mind, so don't hold me to it.
That's fair.
But I'm just thinking, like the winners should read the first clue, and of course you guys would get it the first day. Everyone, it would literally just be released that day. Like you do it like boom right here on Instagram. So you guys don't have an advantage of knowing anything ahead of time. But I thought, that'd be cool.
That would be pretty fun.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And you guys got to defend. These are the two to beat, everyone.
You might have to dress up in disguise.
You guys are known now.
On our
backs,
I know.
I blasted you on Instagram when you found it. So now when everyone's out hiking, they're going to know.
Well, feel free to say hi and join us. Maybe we'll split the loot.
That's right. There you go. You hit it. Sweet. Cool, guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.